Happy Thursday, it's Miss Muller here, and we're going to be looking at some more of our math homework problems, going over some of the problems from each day. So in your math packet for the week of March 23rd, you should flip to the page that says EOG practice homework. So it looks like this, and it has Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday on the back. So if you do not have this out, you can go ahead and pause the video and get it out so you can walk through it with us. And I've just picked out some of the problems to look at so that we get practice with each of the different types of problems, and so that way you know how to solve them on your own. So we're going to go ahead and start by looking at problem number 2 on Monday's homework. So looking at the top, and it asks us to draw the number 4/3 on a number line. So we notice immediately that this is a fraction. There's a part over a whole, and the numerator is 4 and the denominator is 3. So this number, what I noticed right away is that the numerator is greater than the denominator. 4 is bigger than 3. And so when the numerator is bigger than the denominator, that means my fraction is greater than 1 whole. Because remember, 1 whole is 3 out of 3, or 3/3. And so if I have 4/3, that means I have more than 1 whole. So when I make my number line, it's not just going to go from 0 to 1. I'm going to have to add an additional whole. Because when I start with my number line going from 0 to 1, I have, if I break it into thirds, I'll have 0/3, 1/3, 2/3, and then 1, which is 3/3. But I need to get to 4/3, so I'm going to have to add another whole to make it to 2. So now I can divide this second whole into 3 parts. So now there are 1, 2, 3 parts in this next whole from 1 to 2. And so I can do the same thing, going on adding 1/3 each time. Each jump is 1/3 here. So I have 3/3. Here would be 4/3, 5/3, and then 2 would be 6/3. So if I'm looking for 4/3 on a number line, I could put my dot right here, 1/3 after 1. Now, my second problem asks me to make a number line 2. So it's looking at number 3 for Monday's work, and number 3 asks about 2 pieces of string. We have string A, which is 2/4 feet, and string B, which is 2/8 feet. So I know I'm going to have to make my number line to have fourths and eighths. So that's just like the fraction family number lines we've been making, where we start with a number line and we divide it into halves and then fourths and then eighths. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. First, we'll make fourths and then eighths. So in order to make fourths, first I'm going to divide it in half from 0 to 1. And so that would be half. And then if I divide each half in half, now I'm going to have 4 pieces. So I can label these in fourths. So I'm going to label the fourths in blue. So over here with 0, we have 0/4, and then 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, which is 1. But now I'm going to need to also make eighths. So I'm going to divide each of these fourths in half again to make 8. So over here, we're going to start with 0/8, and then 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, which is also 2/4 or 1/2, then 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, which equals 1. Now, it asks me to draw a picture to determine which piece of string is longer. String A is 2/4 feet, so I can put my dot here for string A. It's going to be at that 2/4 or 4/8 mark. And then string B is 2/8, so I'm going to put it right at 2/8, which I see here is also equal to 1/4. So now it asks which string is longer, String B goes to here, and string A goes all the way out to here. So string A is longer. So when you fill in the sentence, it says, I know that string A is longest because it is how much longer than string B. So we need to count how much longer it is. So if I'm making jumps of 1/8, it would be 1/8, 2/8 shorter than string A. And if I was counting by fourths, it would just be one jump, so 1/4 shorter than string A. So string A is the longest because it is 1/4 or 2/8 longer than string B. So we have here, this is either a jump of 1/4 or 2/8. Okay, now we're going to be looking at Tuesday, number 3. So if you look at number 3, it says, there are 14 boxes. So I'm going to draw my brackets and underline the information I got. So I know there are 14 boxes. Then in my next sentence, 5 of the boxes are empty. So that's going to be important. So I underline empty. Then it says each. That's a key word that tells me there are groups in each. Each of the other boxes contains 6 erasers. How many erasers are there all together? So my problem, I'm trying to find how many erasers there are in all the boxes. But I know something about the boxes. So I know that there are 14 boxes to start with, but 5 of them are empty. So if they're empty, that means they have 0 erasers. Then the rest of the boxes have 6 erasers each. In order to find out how many boxes have 6 erasers in them, I need to take away the empty boxes. So I start by doing 14 minus 5. This tells me that I have 9 boxes left that have erasers in them. Each of the boxes has 6 erasers each. So if I were to make a get chart, I have 9 boxes with 6 erasers each, and I need to find my total. So I multiply these two numbers when I know the groups and the each. So I find 9 times 6, and I know my friendly numbers. 9 times 5 equals 45. So I just add 9 more, and I get 54. So there are 54 erasers. All right, so that's that problem. The other 2 problems on there will be on the answer sheets that we are uploading. So if you need to look at either of the other problems for Tuesday, you can look there. Next, we're going to look at Wednesday, problem number 3. So this is a pictograph. So remember, on a pictograph, this is data that's being represented, and each of these circles represents something. So I have to look at the key, and it says each circle stands for 3 points that have been scored. So my first step is always to figure out how many points each person has scored by filling out all of the pictographs. So I'm going to count by 3s for each of these circles. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 here, or 8, or there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles times 3 gives me 18. So I have 2 here. 2 times 3 equals 6. I can count by 3s or know my multiplication facts to do 3 times 3 is 9. And then 3 times 5 is 15. Now if I look at A, it says, how many more points did Alan score than Cam? When I see this more than, I know I'm comparing, which means I have to subtract the 2 numbers to figure out the difference between them. So I need to find how many Alan had. So Alan had 18 and Cam had 6. So in order to find out how many more points Alan had, because Alan had more with 18 than Cam, who had 6, I need to do 18 minus 6. 18 minus 6 is going to give me 12. For the next one, part B, it says, how many points Did Mark and Gary score all together? When I see this word all together, now instead of comparing and subtracting, this time I'm seeing how many there are all together, so I need to add the two people's points. So I need to add Mark's points. So Mark had 15 and Gary had 9. So I need to add 15 plus 9, and that will give me my answer of 24 points. So like I said, the rest of the problems will be worked out on the answer key. So go ahead and check in your class's Google Classroom for the links to those. And I hope this was helpful in solving some of these problems. Keep watching, keep it up. You guys are doing great work at home. We miss you, and let us know in the comments if you have any more questions or want to see another problem worked out. Thanks so much. Bye.